Have you ever been out for a walk, maybe through a forest or just across a field, and wondered what you're really looking at? I mean, beyond just the trees and the grass. Every single landscape has this deep history, a whole story that's written in its soil, its stones, and all the life that it supports. So today, we're going to learn how to read those stories.
So, what stories is the ground beneath your feet telling you? You might be shocked to find out that the places we think of as natural, well, they're often anything but. To see what I mean, let's start with a place that seems about as wild as it gets, the woods. All right, let's start somewhere that feels familiar to all of us, right? The woods. Seems simple enough. But if you look just a little bit closer, you start to find these incredible layers of hidden complexity. Now, the basic definition is pretty straightforward. It's an area dominated by tall trees that form a canopy. But here's the first secret, and it's a big one. There's really no such thing as a typical woodland. Every single one is shaped by this unique mix of factors that you probably wouldn't even notice at first. See, a woodland isn't just one single environment. It's more like a building with different floors all stacked on top of each other. Way up at the top, you've got the canopy. That's the roof, and it controls how much light and rain actually gets through. Below that is the understory, with smaller trees and shrubs that are totally fine with living in the shade. Then you get down to the floor, where all the ground plants are fighting for whatever scraps of light make it down. And finally, you've got this whole hidden world in the soil itself. Each layer is its own little universe.
So you take all those layers, you combine them with the type of soil, and this is the most important part, human influence. And that's what creates all these different types of woodland. You know, a plantation is super easy to spot with its dead straight rows of pine trees. But here's the really surprising thing. In a lot of places, there aren't any truly natural woodlands left at all. They've all been shaped and molded by us over hundreds, even thousands of years.
Okay, so let's move out of the dense woods and into something that, let's be honest, might just look like a messy patch of overgrown bushes. This is scrub. And it's not just messy, it's actually a key stage in a really powerful natural process.
And that process, it's called ecological succession. It's happening around us all the time. If you just leave a patch of bare ground completely alone, it won't stay bare for long. First, you get grasses and flowers moving in. Then, they're followed by shrubs, things like hawthorn, and that's your scrub stage. And if you just wait long enough, trees will eventually show up and grow, turning the whole place right back into a woodland.
So please, don't mistake scrub for neglect. It is a vital, totally unique habitat all on its own. It's often kept in this stage by grazing animals that stop the trees from taking over, and it provides critical food and shelter for so many species. For some birds, like the famous nightingale, it's literally the only kind of place they'll breed. And this whole theme of human influence, that brings us to what I think is the biggest surprise in this entire story. We're going to look at landscapes that feel ancient, truly wild, but they're holding a deep, deep secret about how they were actually made. I want you to picture lowland heath. You know, that iconic, sweeping landscape of purple heather and yellow gorse. It feels ancient, right? It's even internationally protected because of its rare wildlife. But here's the question. Is it actually natural? The answer, and this is just incredible, is no. It's not natural at all. This precious, protected habitat was created entirely by human activity. It's a story that goes back something like 4,000 years. People back in the Bronze Age started clearing the original woodlands so they could graze their animals. The key thing is, they did this on really poor acidic, sandy soils, and on that tough ground, once the trees were gone, only a few very specific plants could really thrive, heather and gorse.
And that totally man-made environment became this incredibly important haven. That sandy soil is just perfect for all 6 of Britain's native reptiles to burrow and lay their eggs. It's also home to some amazingly rare birds, like the Dartford warbler and the nightjar. And that is why this unnatural habitat is so fragile and why we protect it so fiercely.
And you see this exact same story with grasslands, too. For centuries, traditional farming, light grazing, cutting hay once a year, it created these stunningly rich wildflower meadows. But then came modern intensive farming, and ironically, they call it improvement. It means plowing everything up, reseeding with just a few types of grass, and using herbicides. And what happens? You wipe out all that incredible biodiversity. Okay, so we've seen how landscapes get shaped by soil and by people.
Now let's turn our attention to another hugely powerful force, water.
And surprise, surprise, it is all about variety here, too. You have things like chalk streams, which are these incredibly clear, fast-flowing, and totally unique ecosystems. But you also have ponds, which are often man-made from old clay pits, and even man-made drainage ditches. Each one supports its own distinct community of life.
And to really see just how diverse water-shaped habitats can get, we have to go to the coast. Let's just take the 88-mile-long Dorset coastline. It's a World Heritage Site, and it's the perfect example of just how dynamic this can be.
The variety in this one stretch of coast is just staggering. You've got everything from hard limestone cliffs to sprawling sand dunes, to massive shingle beaches and sheltered salt marshes. In fact, there are 10 distinct coastal habitat types in this one area alone. It's incredible.
Right, for our final stop, we're heading back inland, and we're going to the most surprising habitat of them all, the places that we humans have disturbed the most, which can actually become these accidental oases for wildlife. I just love this quote from the source material. It captures the whole idea perfectly. It says, "At Durlston Country Park, some of the rarest flowers are found in the car parks." It just shows you that life finds a way to adapt and make a home in the most unexpected places imaginable.
We call these places brownfield sites. We're talking about old quarries that slowly fill back up with life. Abandoned railway lines that become these amazing wildlife corridors. Even the tiny cracks in old brick walls. They're this fascinating extra layer, entirely human-made, but they provide homes for species that might actually struggle to survive anywhere else. So what does all this really mean? It means that every single landscape, from a deep forest to a forgotten corner of a car park, has a rich, complex story to tell. It's a story written in soil, in stone, in water, and in thousands of years of human history.
And that brings us right back to where we started. Now that you have this new lens, this new way of seeing things, what stories are you going to discover the next time you step outside? What is the ground beneath your feet telling you?